Is a good way to celebrate the solstice weekend. It's a nice day, nice weekend. Enjoy a little drive on the Seward Highway. And now it's a quick trip to Seward, but that was not always the case. Eric Sohl has a history of this vital connection through South Central Alaska.
Been declared a National Scenic Highway and an All-American Highway.
The Seward Highway, 127 miles of scenic pullouts, campgrounds, and history. Over half of it winding through the Chugach National Forest, and it only took 44 years to build.
Mile Zero is right by the Sea Life Center.
Originally, there were only walking trails used by the area's indigenous residents and wagon trails headed out to gold claims. Work on a road north started in 1907.
Their goal was to get the Kenai Highway, they called it at the time, finished to Kenai Lake at mile 18.
Anchorage didn't even exist yet.
He saw that whole highway come into existence. They augmented a wagon road and trails that were in that area paralleling the railroad.
The road project got a boost from the railroad. In 1915, the federal government bought the railroad project, being built from Seward into the interior, and needed a road to help with construction. The Alaska Railroad project was finished in 1923. You could ride all the way to Fairbanks.
First car to come to town was 1915.
But from Seward, you could still only drive a car a very short distance.
The Snow River just past mile 18 that required a quarter-mile long bridge. Quite an engineering feat in those days. They finally finished that 18-mile stretch in 1924. Roadhouses sprung up at mile 6, mile 7. You know, it's just like people would go for a drive.
In 1929, the Moose Pass Highway from Moose Pass to Hope was finished. Ironically, the two highways didn't meet in the middle.
So here you had mile 0 to 18, mile 29 to Hope, and that 10.5-mile stretch in between was called the Missing Link.
The road filling in the missing link was eventually finished in 1938. Seward and the gold mining community of Hope were now connected by road.
There was a lot of great concern about, having different options in case of military attack.
World War II would provide the motivation to connect the highway to Anchorage.
Following World War II, about 1948, the federal government, Congress, authorized, I think, $28 million in funding, and that was to get the connection from Seward to Anchorage completed.
And a brand new section of road was built from scratch, connecting the Hope Cutoff to Girdwood. There was already a road connecting Girdwood to Anchorage. Before the highway was completed, the railroad was the only connection between Seward and Anchorage by land.
October 19th, 1951, there was a ceremony in Girdwood to mark the completion of the road, and they called it the Turnagain Arm Seward Highway.
Originally, a very different highway from the one we travel today. Over the years, it's been widened and paved. Even today, it continues to be a work in progress.
People, without fail, remark on it as one of the most beautiful highways they've ever traveled on.
Providing an important and scenic connection between the Kenai Peninsula and the rest of South Central Alaska. Eric Sohl, Alaska's news source.